Hello, my YouTube family and friends. I pray that everyone is having a beautiful, blessed Wednesday in the mighty name of Jesus. If you have not said it already, let's say it together. Thank you, Jesus, for another day. It's a blessing to be alive. And I found, we're still sort of unpacking stuff, but I found my morning and evening devotion book. It was just laying out, but it's Billy Graham, and it's called Hope for Each Day, and it's morning and evening devotions. And this particular, I opened the book, the devotional up, and it turned directly to learning from death. To everything there is a season, a time to be born, and a time to die. Ecclesiastes 3:1-2. And so I just want to read this. It's real short. It says, have you ever watched a loved one struggle with pain, growing disability, and approaching death? Perhaps you ask yourself, why doesn't God just let her die? I don't have a complete answer for you. We live in a fallen, sin-scarred world, and much of what happens falls far short of God's original plan. But I do know this. Even when we can't understand why God allows things like this to happen, He still can be trusted to do what is right. God is sovereign, and He knows what is best for you, for the person who is suffering, and for all those affected by their suffering. In God's time, He will take the suffering saint to be with Him. When someone is suffering or dying, we should ask God to teach us whatever lessons He has for us in this experience. Sometimes, I believe, God allows a loved one to linger because family members need to come together and be reconciled to each other. God also may use situations like this to teach us how to love others who are in need and to remind us of the brevity of life. That is so true, y'all. And again, this was the scriptures, Ecclesiastes 3:1-2. To everything there is a season, a time to be born, and a time to die. So, something's in my eye, y'all. But on the subject of learning from death, I wanted to just briefly talk about that. Try not to be before you long, but I definitely, and that's the heating unit coming out. Sorry about the noise. But anyway, I definitely, God taught me through death. I've shared this before, but I'll share it again. I worked as a certified nursing assistant years ago, back in 1991. And so that sort of prepared me for, dealing with my late husband, or before he passed away, dealing with him. And just briefly, I just had to do it for just a week. But, my mindset went back to when, I worked in that nursing home, because God already knew my heart. He knows that I have a love for people. He knows I don't mind helping people. I love, taking care of whoever I need to take care of, especially older people. I love doing stuff for them. And at our church we were at back in Tennessee, we have eating engagements or fellowship. Back in the fellowship hall, we have, they serve food or whatever. And I would just love to say, I'll get you a plate, or I'll get you a cup of punch or juice or whatever. I love doing stuff like that. So God knows our heart. Man looks at the outward appearance, but God looks at the heart of man. But anyway, going back to my late husband, he lived 1 week after he got discharged from the hospital. And, of course, I wasn't thinking he was going to die. I was thinking the other way, the upside of it. I said, it's going to take a little while to get him back to where he was, but we're going to get him there, and my mind had already went on forward thinking, I may have to quit my job, or we're going to have to downsize. I was just thinking, because I was like, we got to get him back to where he was at. But God said, no, he going to come with me. He's coming to his heavenly home, And so, but like I said, we didn't know that. We had no idea. Only God knew that, because He's sovereign. But anyway, I was, I bed bathed him, and I'm not bragging, I'm telling the truth, and I didn't mind doing it. I bed bathed him, and, did what I needed to do. And he said, "You okay with that?" I said, "Yeah," but I had did it before. So, I really believe that God does go before us and make ways for us and prepares us. Way back in 1991, before I even thought about being married, God had already prepared my heart to be in that way. Because I've heard some people say, I don't know if I could do all that, but I would have been, I would have did whatever I needed to do for him. Whatever he needed, I was there. Because I thought about our vows, and I said, "To death do us part," and little did I know that's what it was going to be in our case. And like I said, I was fine with it. I wasn't snubbing my nose up at him, or I don't know if I can do this. And the lady in hospice, she had called me. The lady from hospice, she called me, and she said, "Man, we short." And she said, "The lady who's supposed to come out to get your husband's vitals and give him a bath, and said she's not going to be able to come. Are you okay with that?" I said, "It's okay." I said, I'll take care of my husband. You don't worry about sending anybody out here. He's okay. He's in good hands." So she said, "Okay." So anyway, and he was in good hands. He was in the Almighty God hands. And then he was in, God entrusted him to me, for me to help him. So, and then his children. So he was just fine, and he wasn't worried. He wasn't concerned, because he knew we were going to take care of him. But anyway, my former manager had said this, and I was like, wow, I felt like God was speaking through her when she said this. I had really, this been a little while ago, but I was having a day. I was thinking about him and remembering, when he was here on earth, and just thinking about, in my mind, I was just having a rough day. And then I think what was coming up was his birthday. This was a little bit before July, and that's his birthday month. But anyway, it was his birthday month. And so, I was just thinking about that, but I didn't even realize it till later. And I looked at the calendar, and I said, that's why I was getting emotional, but I wasn't even thinking about that at the time. But anyway, she had made a comment, and she said, I said, "Yeah, I said, some things we just never understand, but I guess we'll understand it, when as time goes on by and God will let us know when we get to heaven." But I said, I would have did whatever I needed to do for him. I said, I sometimes I wonder, why couldn't he have come to Colorado with us, or why couldn't he have lived a little longer? And the Lord has been constantly reminding me, it couldn't have happened that way, because his time was up here on earth on October the 6th. He was born on July 2nd, 1972. And on October 6th, 2021 was his departure date. And so his time was up. He had did his time. He had did his 49 years here on earth. But like I said, sometimes, oh, I'm sorry. So she had mentioned, she said he probably didn't want you to go through that, taking care of him and stuff like that. And I said, yeah, you know what? I never thought about that. And she said, yeah, she said he probably didn't want you to have to struggle, and you are the children, and just, he just wanted to be at rest and at peace. I said, yeah, that was his personality. That was his, man, that's how he thought. He didn't want to bother anybody. He didn't want to, put anybody out or anything. That was his character. That was true. So I know that was God speaking through her. But anyway, I said, yeah, you know what? I believe that. I received that. So anyway, she was just, confirming a lot of things, and God was speaking through her to me. And I was thankful for that, because I needed to be reminded of that. I knew that, but I needed to be reminded of it. But anyway, again, he only lived one week after he got discharged from the hospital. And like I said, we were all scurrying around him and trying to make sure he was comfortable, this, that, and the other. And the whole living room was set up like it's like a hospital room almost, minus the building. But we rearranged furniture. We did everything we needed to do, because we was trying to accommodate him, make sure he was good and comfortable. But when God has already set things in order for whomever, for any of us, That's one, I always say this, that's one call we got to answer. When he say time is up here, I'm calling you out of this world. It's time is up. You can't what is it? You can't dodge that call. You can't put it on hold. You can't do none of that. You got to answer. That's a call you got to answer. But again, I never really understood that. I've had quite a few loved ones pass away, and I've been there, right there, sort of in that time frame when they were real sick and getting ready to pass away. And I know there's been two family members. One was a cousin, and then the other one was my aunt, my mom's older sister. And as far back as I can remember, like I said, I've always had a love for people, and I know that's one of the gifts that God has given me. I've just always had a love for my family, and as well as other people's family too. But I remember just getting on the road. My aunt, she lived in Georgia, and she was in the hospital, and she, thereafter passed away. But I don't know. I just wanted to. I think I don't know if I was off or if it was on the weekend, but I hurried and got to her bedside, and to tell her I told her I loved her, and I was hugging her and stuff like that. And I can't remember what was going on, but she was sick. But anyway, I hadn't really been close to her or anything like that. She was just my mom's older sister. But I got in a hurry to go to Georgia I just wanted to do that. And then I had a cousin. My aunt passed away. That's been years ago. I've forgotten what year that was. But then I had a cousin. He passed away. And he was, right before he passed away, he was trying to get all of the cousins together. And I can't remember where I had seen him at, or I had saw him at, because, it was a cousin that really wasn't close to him. But I remember years ago, before I met back up with him again and seen him again. We lived in the same city, but, the family you just see every now and then. You don't really cross paths. You don't go over each other's house or anything like that. And he was older than me. But anyway, back in the day when I was a teenager, I was doing a summer job at a hospital, and he worked there in the hospital. So I worked in the cafeteria, I was taking trays up to, I don't know what you call that, but I was taking trays up to the floors, like for the maternity ward, for, I would load the tray thing, I don't know what you call it, but anyway, it's where all the trays fit in it. I would load that up and take it up to the whatever floor, and then take it to each room, put it on the bedside table. And so he worked in the cafeteria. And so I found, we got to talking, and he said, "You my cousin." And so anyway, but that was sort of short-lived, because I think I only worked there for a little while. It was a summer job. And then I was so happy, because I was always happy to find out about new family and stuff. And then I met back up with him years later, after I had got married and stuff like that. And I can't remember where we ended up seeing each other at, but I used to tell my mom all the time, I said, "He looks just like my other cousins." I mean, they were cousins, but they almost could be brothers, because to me they look so much alike. But anyway, so I told her. She said, "Yeah, that's so that's your cousin too." And so he was telling me, he said, "I would love for all of the cousins to get together, and for us to just, hang out or whatever." And so I've never drank or anything. I didn't drink or smoke or nothing like that. And I know some of them did. But I was just like, "Lord, please let us have a clean get together, And so the Lord allowed that. But he passed away before, let me go back. So he got real sick. I can't remember what happened, but he was real sick. He got real sick, and I got news of it. And so this was during the time when, he was saying he wanted us to get together. And I was sort of dragging my feet, because I was like, well, And so then I got word that he was sick in the hospital, so I went to go visit him. And he didn't really know I was there, I don't think, but because he was sort of out of it. But I was like, wow. So I was telling his sister, what he was trying to do and stuff. And she said, yeah, nobody really seemed like they really was cared much about that really, but me. But it was just so important to me to do what he wanted to do, especially since he was passing away. So anyway, I didn't rest until I did it. God allowed me to do it. So we didn't have a real big get together, but it was, I think, about, I don't know, 10 or 11 cousins ended up coming or something like that. It may have been a little fewer than that, but anyway, we had fun. We got together. I think it was Chili's or Applebee's, but we did that in honor of him. And then that's when I was on Facebook. I posted on Facebook, but I was like, thank you, Jesus, because I felt like I wanted to do that just to honor him, because he really wanted us to get together. And he said there's so many of y'all I don't even know. And then I got excited, because I was like, you know what, that's a good idea. And so anyway, I coordinated everything, and they came. I was surprised, because some of them, they drank and smoked, but they came. Because I was like, we ain't doing none of that. This is just a get together on a Saturday, and everybody pretty much paid for their own meal. But we had a good time, y'all. We had so much fun, and I was really happy to do that in honor of his death. In honor of him, and then especially since he had passed away. Because, excuse me, I don't think I didn't get a chance to. I don't think I got a chance to go to his funeral, but I was able to go be by his, be at his bedside and stuff, and talk to him and stuff like that. But I was like, I'm gonna make sure, I do what you wanted to do, because he was so wanting to do that. And I really wish, more family members had have showed up. But I said, well, God who came, that's who God wanted to come. But again, through death, I wanted to share those two situations, or two scenarios that happened to me, or two, occurrences. A lot of times we don't understand why loved ones pass away, and we say, well, and so, but to be honest, I have a different outlook on death now. It was always something where, well, back in the day, it was always somebody older dying. When I was younger, somebody old was always dying, or they was just real sick. But that, as y'all know, that's not the case anymore. You can be a baby, you can be a toddler, a teenager, you can be 50, you can be 20, you can be 10. When it's your time is up here. When God calls you home, is it to your heavenly home? But anyway, I just have a different outlook now on because death is part of life. And like I said, a lot of people, they don't want to talk about that. They change the subject when you talk about it. But I try to share it with many people as I can, especially since I witnessed it firsthand. I've been to quite a few funerals. My late husband used to say this all the time. He said, why y'all out? Because me and my stepfather, we would always discuss when somebody would pass away and say, well, where's the funeral going to be? Or who's handling who got the body? Or when we say who got the body, we talking about what funeral home. That's just a South thing. It's anywhere. But, but he would hear me on the phone, or I would tell him, he said, why y'all so consumed with funerals? And I said, well, it ain't being consumed with funerals. I said, that's just part of life. Their time is up. And so now they got to be buried. And, and he said, he didn't like talking about that or anything like that. And when the person we would had a funeral at the church where his dad pastored at, when he was pastoring, he would always just sit back. He would not go view the body. He said, I don't want to remember them like that. That's not how I remember them. And I said, oh, that makes sense or whatever, because he didn't like, looking at the obituary and anything like that. But I did. But, and it wasn't that I was fascinated with it, but what God was doing, he was preparing me. Each one I was going to, he was preparing me what I was going to have to deal with. And like I said, with him, we met at the funeral home, and I had to, me and his parents picked out the casket. And I mean, it's if y'all you've never been through it, and I'm sure you all probably have, but firsthand, it's something else. I mean, it's like, wow, I had to get him, make sure his mom picked out his attire, his clothes, what he was gonna wear. And I was just like, wow, this ain't no uncle, this ain't no aunt, this ain't no grandma or grandpa, this is my husband laying up here. And so it was an experience, it really was. But not one time did I cry while I was doing all that, but it was just, I cried later and cried before. But but when you're handling business, it's different, because it's like, okay, I got to get this done. I got to get this done. But anyway, it's just, it's something else when you actually have to go through stuff yourself. Like I said, I've been to quite a few funerals. My stepdad and mom were always involved in church heavily. So we went to quite a few funerals, family member funerals, friend funerals, but to actually go, deal with your husband, your spouse's funeral, that was a little different for me. And I was like, wow, whew, that was something else. But God allowed me and my children to get through it. But again, I understand now, and I try to share this with everybody who I talk to. It's good to when everything's going good, but we just never know. We never know when God's gonna call our loved ones home, when He's gonna call me home, when He's gonna call you home. We just don't know. So that's why we gotta be living for Him. We gotta do what we can while we can. And I understand now, and I can grasp it better, firsthand, because I said, I used to say, well, why didn't that person, God, why did God take that why did God take that person? Why couldn't they have lived a little longer? And God said it was their time. It was your late husband's time. He did everything he needed to do. It was time. It was time. And a lot of times, this is for somebody, we want to hold on to family members or friends or whoever, whatever the case may be, their relationship with you. But God is saying, let them go. Let them go. And God knows what He's doing. And we want to, hold on to them and say, well, put them on the machine or do this or do that. And God said, no, let them go. And because that eases our mind, gives us peace. But the real peace is letting them go, And that's one thing I can say, that God gave me and my children peace. When He passed away there in that house that we owned back in Tennessee, I had peace. I did, because I knew where He was going. He transitioned right there in front of my face. And I'll never forget that. But I wasn't afraid. I wasn't, I was hollering, because I was like, I couldn't believe it. But I wasn't afraid, because God had already prepared me for that through several, things that have happened in my life. I used to work for a gentleman. He was the director of a program. His wife passed away. So I talked with him, prayed with him. We talked about Jesus. She passed away suddenly. He didn't even really get time with her. It happened so fast. So, God had already prepared me for this. I mean, you really can never be prepared for death, but, you can have peace about it. He'll give you peace about it. Because I've heard people say, I didn't get any peace, or I didn't get any closure. I did. I did, because, like I said, one, I know I'm going to see Him again, because He's in heaven. And two, I know the life He lived. I know that He was a good man. He took care of His wife. He took care of His children. He's a protector, provider. He really was. He was a blessing to everybody that ever met Him or ever was, connected to Him. And I told his mom, his parents, I said, y'all raised a good son. Y'all raised a good child. And even his mom told me, said, I never had any trouble out of him growing up when he was little. And I said, really? And he this is a little funny, y'all. I told him, I said, because me and him, we just had that relationship. We used to laugh and cut up with each other. And I said, because we were talking about something about our children and whatever. And he said, yeah. He said, if they act up, they get that from you. And I said, so you ain't never acted up or did anything? He said, He said, I did what I was told. So I said, I'm going to ask your mama. I said, because that's hard to believe. A little boy, and not you mean to tell me you were not hard-headed? You mean to tell me you did everything right? So I asked his mom. I asked his parents why he was living and when he passed away, and they gave me the same answer both times. They said, nope, never had any trouble out of him. So he did what he was told. Said when we had him watching the other three sons, said he did everything to a T. Said we didn't have no trouble out of him. Said he did everything right. I said, okay, I'm impressed. So, and then I went back and told him. He said, I told you. He said, I didn't lie. So y'all, like I said, that's what I miss. I really miss about him. He was so honest and, upfront and straightforward. He didn't dance around. He didn't try to make you feel good. He told you the truth. Cause I used to tell him all the time. I said, you can at least make me. He said, nope, I'm gonna tell you the truth. He said, you need to know. He said, you need to know the truth. And so that's what I'm living in now. And like I said, I got so many great memories with him and our children. And we used to have so much fun together, y'all. And I said, my next husband, he got some big shoes to fill. Because we just had a good relationship. We really did. And more than anything, we had good communication. And I was telling a lady at work about, our relationship. And I said, that's one thing I miss is how we had good conversation. And that's one thing that attracted me to him when we were dating. Because we would, go different places together and stuff like that. And I said, that's some good, we got, because when I feel like, when you got good conversation, everything else is going to fall in line. But if you can't talk about stuff or some stuff is off limits, I don't know about that. I like to talk, and he liked to talk too, to a certain point. He wasn't as talkative as I was, but he enjoyed. We had good conversation. But anyway, again, death is part of life, and we gotta, it's good to remember, the good times, and we didn't have a perfect marriage, but we served a perfect God. And there was a young lady at church, she told me after he passed away, she said, you and him, I always looked at y'all as a beautiful couple, and said, I just, because she wasn't married or single, she was single at the time, she said, I just always looked at y'all like that. And I said, I appreciate that. But like I said, at that time, I was not with the Lord like I am now. I didn't have a relationship with Jesus like I do now. But it just goes to show that people are watching you, and they look at your life, however you look with that life, that's what they looking at. But again, don't look at death, as a bad thing. Look at it. And I know, yes, it hurts. It's sad. It's all of that. But just like on the obituary, what the obituaries say now, it's a celebration of life. When we can truly celebrate that person's life and not be doom and gloom, celebrate them. Remember the good times. Remember the good memories you had with that person. But again, I'm so happy and thankful to Jesus that he did not suffer. And I do believe that. I told my children that, and I told different ones that I've talked to about him. I said, I believe that he asked God to take him. He was ready. Because he told me even during COVID, before we got sick with COVID, when COVID first came about, he told me, he said, when Jesus called me, I'm ready. He said, I'm ready to go. And I said, and I was like, quit talking like that. And, because we talked about everything. And he said, no, I'm ready. And he said it with the most sincerity. So I was like, okay, and he was ready, y'all. And so he is where he wanted to be with Jesus. And that's the best place you could ever be. That's where we want to be. That's where we should be striving to be with Jesus. And so, but until then, we got to do what we can while we can. But again, death is part of life. It's good to remember. It's good to share good memories of your loved one. And like I said, this one really hit home because it was my late husband, my children's father, my late husband, and it just hit home, y'all. And like I said, the crying, I don't cry as much as I used to. But when we first moved here, I did a lot of that, 2022, and then of course last year. But it's not getting easier, but I'm getting stronger. I'm getting stronger each year, and it's been 3 years now. And I know that I'm gonna get remarried. God has already told me that, and I told him, let me know who you have for me. And I believe he's already let me know that, but things have to take place. But I am thankful. I'm so thankful, y'all, that I'm here. I'm in the land of the living, and you are too. And like I said, we have no reason to be with our heads down and out about anything. We got life to live. We need to be living life abundantly in Jesus. And like I said, the best is still yet to come. And, like I said, it ain't nothing wrong with remembering your loved one. But don't be so caught up in death where you forget to live yourself, And like I said, it's nothing wrong with remembering, because, a lot of times I'll just think about stuff I used to do that a whole lot, but I don't do it so much now. But, I got a whole box of his stuff. I gave away all his clothes, and when we got here, I took all it because he had a lot of stuff he had ordered from Amazon before he passed away, and he never got a chance to wear it. So I just went to Goodwill and just gave it, to Goodwill. And then his other stuff, I got rid of that. And then we got a whole box of stuff here from the funeral, and just stuff that belonged to him. But again, it's good to remember. It really is. But, we got to keep moving forward in Jesus. And we will, the loved ones that have gone on to be with Jesus, we're going to see them again. If we live in that life that we're supposed to be living according to God's holy word, we're going to see them again. So it's nothing wrong with crying. It's nothing wrong with, thinking about them and remembering. But like I said, just know when you know where they're at with Jesus, that should give you all the reassurance you need, because they're in a wonderful place. They're in a whole better place than we are. So as always, I pray that something I said in this video was a blessing to somebody out there. I pray you always hear Jesus speaking through me and not just me. I pray that you've had a beautiful, blessed day today. You was already blessed when God woke you up this morning. I pray that you were a blessing to somebody else today. I pray that the Lord continues to encamp his holy angels around you and your family, both day and night. I pray that every prayer you have ever prayed to Jesus, that he will answer it according to his holy, divine, and perfect will for your life. I love you, but remember, Jesus loves you so much more. Please know the best is still yet to come for you and for me. God bless you. God keep you. Thank you all for listening. And again, I'll continue to pray for you, and please continue to pray for me. Bye-bye.